Hey guys, this is Christina Franks from the Journal Review, and welcome to the debut episode of Journal Review Live. I'm sitting down today with Mayor Todd Barton to talk about Stellar. Mayor Barton, it has been almost a year since we received the Stellar designation. How fast has that time gone?
It's flown by, actually. When I think about it being almost a year, it's kind of hard to believe sometimes, but it's been an exciting year, and it's just kind of flown by.
One of the things that we were talking about was, I think people almost have a misconception of how long it actually takes to get things done.
Right.
And so, I mean, we're not seeing very noticeable changes, but I'm sure on your end, tons of things are happening.
Yeah, there's a mountain of work going on behind the scenes, and we worked very hard from the beginning to try to manage expectations and make sure everyone understood that this will not happen overnight.
Right.
And that was a lesson we had learned from other communities who had been through this, that this is announced and all these great things are going to happen, and then a few months later people are looking around thinking, well, I don't see anything.
Right.
So we tried to be upfront with people and tell them that this is a very long process. It will play out over 3 to 4 years, and so that the expectations are realistic. And that's exactly what we've done. We've accomplished a great deal behind the scenes, which has put us in position to really start seeing things physically happening here in the next 6 months.
What is one of the projects that you think is probably furthest along?
Well, by far the Pocket Park.
Okay.
And the Pocket Park, largely because it is being completed with local funds rather than federal funding, and that allows us to move a lot quicker in that process. So we currently own all the property for the Pocket Park. We've been able to move through that process, and again, even there, people don't understand how long that takes.
Right.
It's not like going and buying property on your own. When the government buys property, we have to go through certain procedures to ensure that we're doing it correctly and that no one's running afoul of anything as we're trying to do that. So it is a very time-consuming process. But we own all the property now. The Community Foundation and Wabash College are both very strong partners in that project, along with the city. And we're working through the design phase right now, and we'll break ground there in the spring.
Awesome.
We could in potential theory break ground yet this fall, but we know right now that the construction market is pretty tight, and we think we'll get a better price and get more for our money if we just wait a few months until spring.
Why was that Pocket Park, where did that idea come from?
The concept of those gathering places in the downtown are very popular in a lot of communities, and we see that they're very successful. And when we listen to what young people and professionals want, that's towards the top of the list usually.
Okay.
They want those gathering places. And in our particular case, when we moved the farmers market there, it was so successful, and I always jokingly say, but it's true, I say, the farmers market went there for 1 week temporarily, and they never left because it's worked so well. So as the farmers market, was established there and really did very well, it just kind of became a no-brainer that we need a park and we need a gathering area in that location.
And then we got to talk about Fusion 54. That's almost one of the biggest projects that people keep talking about, because it's such a different concept.
It's a totally different concept, yeah. And I think it's the project that set us apart from all of our competition last year. And it's interesting. I can't wait to see the proposals that come out this year. We've heard from other communities wanting to kind of look at that concept and maybe put their own spin on it and borrow it, and that's great. So Fusion 54 is very exciting. It is a very time-consuming project because it is partially federally funded through the state. So we do have to move through that process a little slower, but it is on schedule and actually ahead of schedule a little bit. So I think we'll see groundbreaking there next spring as well.
What are you hoping that the actual citizens and community members of Crawfordsville will get out of the Fusion 54?
Well, I think they'll get several things. I mean, first and foremost, that area will be cleaned up, and that'll make a bold statement. You won't have a lot that's empty. We hear a lot about that lot. That won't be the case anymore. You'll have a nice, attractive building that looks very professional, and it looks very much like Crawfordsville. We're working very hard with the designs. I don't want something ultra-modern that looks like it comes from another community. I want something that looks like part of downtown Crawfordsville. So we'll have that, and that will really establish that southern gateway into our downtown.
Okay.
So that'll be first and foremost. The other things that'll help the public, there'll be parking there for the trail usage. So there's nice parking lot with lots of public parking, so people can access the trail system and either go out to the Sugar Creek Trail or go to the downtown loop part of the trail and do all those things. The visitor center, people will see that front and center on Washington Street. We have thousands of visitors to our community every year. We need a visitor center that's front and center so they can easily stop in and find out what there is to do in this community, because there are a lot of great things to do. And then I think the public will get engaged because there will be a coffee shop there. There's a chance for them to stop in there and socialize with other people. Certainly young people with the entrepreneur piece and the co-working space. Again, we're trying to keep young people in the community, and we look around and ask what do they want in the community. That co-working space is at the top of the list. And so those people will be engaged and go in that building and work with people who think like them. And we see that with even the older population. I'm amazed at how many people work out of their homes. And this will give them another outlet, another place to go and work alongside other people. So that'll be going on as well. The community meeting room, I think, will be busy all the time. A lot of different things happening in that building, and we want it to be very active, and we want it to look active all the time.
And since you mentioned young people, you have talked about how important millennials are and this younger generation of working professionals are to a community.
Absolutely.
Why are people like me so important to Crawfordsville?
Well, for me, it's data driven, and when I look at the numbers and see how our population is shifting, I know we have to get ahead of that curve. And if we wait until it's farther down the road, it's going to be too late and hard to recover. Our population in Crawfordsville has stayed stable the last several years, largely because we've become a retirement destination for people from other communities, and we've been able to pull people from the smaller communities into ours. That has offset losing our young people to the more urban areas. We can't continue to augment our numbers with retirees and people coming from elsewhere, from the smaller communities, very much longer. That market's going to dry up, if you will. So we need to find a way to keep our young people here. They literally are the future of our community. And it's interesting, as I think through the Pocket Park and some of those, the trail projects and some of those things, we're really designing those for the next generation or two. Not so much my generation or the older generations. We're designing it for the next generation. So all that being said, I think it's important to remember, we're not saying that the older generation is not important. We think we've done a very good job at becoming a retirement community. We're very proud of that, and we're glad to have all those people here. We just have to shore up the other side of the equation as well.
Right. And how did you do that? That research that you were talking about with the data about what young people are kind of looking for in a community. How did you do that?
Well, there's tons of research out there, and there's all the reading you want, about millennials and trying to understand millennials and what are they looking for. And I spent a lot of time reading through that and really analyzing that. But the first thing that really struck me was looking at our own numbers right here. And we saw that our population decreases dramatically in that 22 to 35 range. Those young people go away and they don't come back for various reasons. And we asked ourselves why that happens. And the conclusion was some of it was lack of opportunity, and we think we're addressing that with economic development. The other was just quality of life or quality of place. We were not offering the things they wanted to see in a community.
And one of the things that I personally love, is a trail, just to kind of get away from everything. And we had that. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know that when I first came here.
Right. Yeah. Kind of a hidden gem at times.
It is. Yeah. And that is part of the Stellar project as well, isn't it?
Well, it is. We have the Sugar Creek Trail, which is amazing. The first step really is to get it all connected, because it's broken into two pieces, and it has been from day one. And so we're trying to get that hooked together. We have the funding through NDOT to get that connected.
Oh, great!
And again, it's a federal highway type project, so it takes a while. It takes a few years, but in a couple of years, people will see that is one big contiguous trail. The next challenge was that most people in Crawfordsville have to get into a car to get to the trail to use it. And that doesn't make much sense to me. So the next step was to get the trail into the heart of the city, and that will be the Big 4 trail on what's now the active rail line that supplies R.R. Donnelly. And we're working with Donnelly and CSX right now to make that happen. And again, it's a slow, grinding process, but we are making headway, and eventually that will be a trail that will bring the Sugar Creek Trail by way of the Big 4 into downtown, and then another trail that loops around the downtown. So we will have an expansive trail system that everybody has access to. And more importantly for me, it lays the groundwork for the future, because you will have a hub in the downtown, and coming generations could build off of that. and build a piece that goes out maybe to Pleasant Meadows, a piece that goes out to the east side, a piece to the northwest, the southeast, and get the entire city connected together. So if you want to exercise, whether it's walk, run, ride a bike, whatever, you don't have to go too far to get on the trail system.
Well, this is all so exciting, and I love that I'm going to be here to see all of this in action. Yeah. What has been the most surprising thing about this stellar process for you?
Just the amount of work involved. It is full-time. Stellar is full-time on top of everything else that we have going on, and we have a lot of other projects that are happening as well. So I've been very fortunate that the city council understood that and allowed me to add a full-time director of operations. That has been huge. He is at work every day on these projects because for me, I have to manage the bigger picture and really make sure we stay on course. But somebody has to be watching all of the details every day as well, and the director of operations, Dale, does that for us quite well. So just the amount of work has been, I don't want to say it was a total surprise. We knew it was going to be a lot of work, but it is even more than what we anticipated.
Why did you try so hard to become a stellar designee? Besides the money, I'm sure is great, but that title obviously just says so much about Crawfordsville.
Well, I promised, first and foremost, I promised the people of Crawfordsville when I ran for mayor that I would continue, that I would try, first and foremost, to get the stellar designation, and that I would keep trying until either we won or they told us to go away and not apply anymore. So I did give everyone my word, and at times I wondered about that, but we stayed the course. But, because I believe in the community largely. I would look around at some of the other winners and think, we have so much more to offer and so much more potential than the people who won. This needs to be in Crawfordsville because we can make some great things happen with this. So we just stayed the course and tried to learn every year from our experience. And it was up and down, and it was a struggle, and it was, we just had to keep our nose to the grindstone and keep working at it. But in the end, every year I felt comfortable that even if we lost, we were creating a very solid plan to move our community forward. Stellar focused us. It really made us focus on what we were trying to accomplish, and much more so than had we not done it. So even if we didn't win, I knew we were gaining great things from it.
And now, since it is almost a year, have you had other communities start calling you to see what we did right?
Well, as this year's process unfolded, we did receive some inquiries from other communities just looking for advice, and I was very fortunate to be asked to participate in the panel discussions for those communities to talk about what our experience was like and what we did and how we approached things, and I think we were able to offer some of them some good advice, but they also have to keep in mind that every community is so different. And that's, I think, the trap that a lot of people fall into. You can't really look at what worked in another community and take it directly to yours because the dynamics are so different in every community. You kind of have to find your own way, and the most important advice I had for all of them is listen to your community and listen to the state. And that sounds simple on the surface, but it's not. You start working through these and you have ideas, staff members have ideas, consultants definitely have ideas. And then you kind of forget, hey, I need to listen to the people who are living here, who want to see the community move forward. I need to listen to my own people. So that's tough, and that's been the biggest advice I've had for other communities. Listen to your community and listen to the state. They tell you what they're asking for. We don't always hear it. So we have to really take time and read through that and think about what they're saying.
Well, Mayor Barton, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate all of your input.
Thank you.
I just can't wait to see where it goes from here.
It should be exciting. We'll have some rough times to go through with construction and things like that, but it'll be well worth it in the end.
That's right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.